right? Because our brain is designed to be sensitive to these two chemicals, sugar and omega-6s, so we don't have starvation ever, all right? This is a bumblebee, all right? You know, bumblebees, they store only for 2 days, actually, honey, all right? Because the queen of the bumblebee can go into hibernation. A regular, our household bees are the ones who actually store the whole winter. And the question is, why do they even store sugar or honey? Well, half of the honey is fructose. So they store fructose. Why? Because once they have to eat their own honey, they eat fructose. What does fructose do? What do they do for a living to find food? They forage. So fructose stimulates our brain to forage, literally. And actually, to the point that you ignore the danger. It's actually designed, the sugar is designed for us to want more and go look around for things and ignore even if it's dangerous because it's essential so we don't die starving. But that's why we lose our mind. Our judgment centers say, wait, once you put anything sweet in your mouth, you will not stop eating that food. And you don't even think about it. There is no will if you have it around you. I don't have a will either. Right now, if you show me that creme brulee that I like and it's right here, well, I'm giving a lecture, I'm going to eat it. There is no stopping. The only time will comes is if you clean your house and your environment from toxic food. Then you have will, because you're not going to go, if you don't have it in the fridge, you're not going to 12 me like a lunatic to shop for it. It's just too much effort. We are comfortable, human beings. But these even bees, they only use the sugar, the fructose from the honey to tell them, hey, we're getting empty here, go and find food. That's the signal for starvation. Otherwise, they would not store it, even for bees. All right? This is a bumblebee in my backyard, just so you know. All right? So, basically, fructose effects on brain. It's addiction. We lose our mind. And long-term, actually, is designed to increase our visual cues, reduce our willpower, and especially recent memory. I mean, it's probably, I would say with 80% confidence, is the #1 cause of Alzheimer's in this country, and probably in any country, okay? That's exactly what I'm telling you here. That's exactly what Alzheimer's is, because it's every day for the rest of our life until we hit 70 or 80. And we have actually mechanism, we know a lot. We just haven't done the experiments. We can't afford to take somebody who's 20 or 30, follow them for 50 years. This guy eats just once a week sugar and the other guys eat every day and see what happens. We can't afford. Nobody will do it because it's, oh, wait a minute, eating sugar all the time, we know it's bad for you. Why would I do that to myself? But that's what it is. And 15% of us are addicted. And what causes our addictions? Fructose, chemicals, signals. They send little text messages to our brain, to our liver, to our cell. MSG, what's G stand for? Glutamate, the most exciting substance in our brain. All right? But if you release too much, it actually kills the neurons. That's why addiction is always associated with that. Sugar-free sweeteners, there is no free ride with sweeteners, I told you. Even if you have one that doesn't have sweeteners, it will have the coloring thing, the yellow, whatever, that is there for a purpose. Vegetable, birds or not, these guys release your dopamine the moment you hit the palate and it's sweet. It's going to release not only dopamine, so you want more, but it's going to release insulin too. So even if you didn't eat anything that has sugar in it, your insulin is released. Hey, storage, time to store. So then you eat anything with it, then that goes into storage. That's the signal is now. So it's a major problem. Remember, 12% of the kids, 15% of adults in this country are addicted. Free will is an illusion. People always choose the perceived path of greatest pleasure. And in other words, if you have it there, you're going to go for it. The only way you can protect yourself, don't have it around you. You can start with the house. Last time, 2 weeks ago, I went to a small community church. And the #2 place, at least with my patients and for me, it's at church. Food that we eat at the church. I always say, if you cannot cook healthy, whole foods, don't bring food to the church, or it's just bring some fruits and some carrots. That means you are actually kind to the people around you and yourself, better than to bring junk food. Because you haven't been eating the whole night, you pray for the next 2 hours, your mind goes crazy, and you are not going to stop eating after that. It's a setup for failure. And then after you clean the church, and by the way, after this, they did, okay? After you clean the church, then you go for the next. I try to clean our, in our nurse's station, our food. In general, it works when I'm not there. And even if I'm not there, even if I'm there, you know, my wife works in the neighbor department, the device engineer clinic. I say, don't worry, they come to our place, okay? So it's difficult. I mean, it's a serious addiction. So I stopped nagging or saying anything, because the truth is, our workplace is number 2 place where we get the wrong food after our home. That's how we spend 80–90% of our time. And God forbid that you're a chef. I don't want to even think about that, how complicated it is. Because the customer wants what the customer wants, right? You got to give them what they want. So it's a problem. So basically, just remember, just because you think your taste and your mouth is going to dictate what's food, it doesn't matter. It's our mitochondria that determine your health, disease, longevity, and what's happening. While your brain, you think, decides what we eat and exercise, but our mitochondria determine our fate based on what we feed them and how we use them. Okay? All right? So, yeah, sweeteners, I'm sorry, but if it says 0, stay away from it. There is nothing 0 about it. I can show you how to look at it. But bottom line is, artificial sweeteners do the same as regular fructose and sugar. Hijack your reward center and encourage sugar craving and sugar dependence. They also release insulin and eat more and make you gain weight. The 0 part has 0 anything. Ain't nothing 0 about it. Okay? It does exactly the same thing. I know I'm coming close to an end of the time that I had allocated. Oh, I forgot. There's one more. See this. Say, well, Dr. Sorescu, I admit I'm addicted to sugar. I can't seem to get rid of it. What other replacement can I have? And there's a new buzz about a new sweetener called allulose. I am not promoting nor advertising. However, there are 2 serious scientists who they think it looks like fructose, but it's actually neutral. It actually blocks the glucose production. It's called allulose. And I'm not saying you should do it, but those who are truly addicted and for a month they want to get rid completely of the sugar, they can try to use this allulose-based sweetener as an intermediate step to get rid of the addiction part from the sugar, and then eventually come off that too. It's only 75% of the sweetness of glucose. It actually is the only one shown not to raise your glucose after, from meat. I think the data for humans we don't have enough, but if there was one that I would pick that seemed to have a better outcome at this point, seemed to be this. I would say it's not really studied well, but you're addicted, and we know. And you tried 3 weeks cold turkey, and it's not working. All right, it's still better to go back than sugar. Have this. That's what I'm saying. And you put 2 teaspoons into your coffee. If there is no other way, you tried and it doesn't work to get rid of sugar. All right, and that's how I would use it. And recently, this is last week, Dr. Mark Hyman, who is the head of functional medicine and nutrition at Cleveland Clinic, wrote this editorial with Dr. Another colleague of his from Stanford, Dr. Goodman, and he wrote, it's time to treat sugar like cigarettes. All right, we've done that with cigarettes. It took about 30 years after we started to put down the label to change our habits and get the laws. And it really actually showed that it's, we used to have this Camel cigarettes campaign in the 40s. I'll show you pictures. But bottom line, the idea is that we actually know now, we have evidence sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So we know it's like, if I'm addicted to something, it's not my fault that I'm addicted because nobody told me. All right, I understand that. But once you know you're addicted, then you're going to have to take a completely different approach to deal with an addiction like that. Like if I was addicted to heroin or alcohol, I'm going to have to be for 3 weeks, 4 weeks off completely, and I can't touch it. It's a completely different story than if you just like it a little bit and you can use it. And 20% of us are completely addicted, so you have to treat it as an addiction. 80% is the same with alcohol. 80% of us are not, and it's easier for 80% of us like me. It wasn't a big deal. There are plenty of us who are not. So then I would like for you to recognize if you are, and then start approaching, okay, this is cocaine. How am I, if I were to be addicted to cocaine or heroin, how would I, and I really want to come off this, how would I approach this? You have to go cold turkey for 4 weeks. You have to not have it around you, and don't go anywhere. You're going to have to deal completely different. And it gets better. It's fixable. But anyway, he offered... So actually, the general surgeon, a few weeks ago, posted or tried to add the label that sugar is as bad as cigarettes for causing cancer, diabetes, or you name it. It's harmful for you, in a nutshell. I don't know if we'll go that far with what I just said. And of course, the FDA has to post it and wait for 6 months comments from everybody first before it's going to implement the law. And of course, immediately the U.S. lobbying against this front of package change, they say in joint filling, we're going to sue you guys, particularly the cereal guys. Okay, fine. Because, I don't know, it's just, I guess, it's bad to do something healthy and people be aware. It's the best kept secret by food industry. I mean, really, if you were each and every one of us, if I could give this lecture to 330 million people are in this country, it would be a major problem. Because while it may not change right away what we do, little by little we're going to change. We're going to just stop at one point buying this stuff. And, just so you know, we didn't get to this for nothing. These were the kind of advertisements they were doing in the 30s and 40s, okay? Sugar in a reducing diet. Actually, eating a little sugar cuts your appetite. That's what they were telling us back then. Can be the willpower you need to undereat. This is not a joke, all right? And then here we're advertising for cigarettes. Doctors were smoking Camel, and this, in the 40s, all right? And so, but now we got much more subtle with that. Here's how we are. This is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the largest 100,000 dietitians from the whole country and world meet in Chicago every year. All right, this was this year, over 100,000 people. This is an article from Washington Post. Okay, so this research presented there. And so what? Just because General Mills presented research doesn't mean they're not correct. Here's what they said and what they found. They have a survey that they funded, funded, that it's about food shaming. Food shaming is defined as making people feel bad about what they eat. So the company said the research showed food shaming led to lower self-esteem. If I tell you that, don't eat cereals, and you're not going to see me buying cereals because I don't know what you're going to judge me about when you see that. I get it. And it's a real deal, particularly if you are young. Maybe women are more sensitive than men. I don't know. It could be. Let me take that for, as an idea. And more likely, why? Because it got them upset because people are more likely to avoid the cereal aisle. Okay, because I said, don't eat cereals. So then they are doing everything they can to prevent that from happening. Food shaming, all right? Okay, this is how they are doing it. Right? These are a bunch of young nutritionists and dietitians line up with a big bowl of cereals. They go all the way up the top. They go all the way down, sliding into a cereal bowl. That's how they're fixing the food shaming. All right? All right? And for those, I will say this. Look, bread is sugar, rice is sugar, pasta is sugar, cereal is sugar, cereal is sugar. Oh, I said that twice. Yes, cereal is sugar. There's nothing else in it. Okay? And that's what it is. And yes, white potatoes, white starch is the problem. Yeah. Have you ever seen an advertisement and having to sponsor, God knows, $10 million conference for this? Have you ever seen this? We don't eat it. We all know what it is. So if it has a health label on it, don't eat that because it's propaganda. And it's a problem because once you expose your kids to every breakfast has to be cereal. This is what the studies are showing now. Childhood and adolescent obesity and long-term cognitive consequences during aging. Western diet causes now long-term memory damage for the growing brains. So are having issues, permanent cognitive impairment in kids. Subtle, not the ones that you can figure. But then they try to go to college and they don't know why they can't go further. And then not only that, but it changes their behavior. So see, you move. I told you fructose is there. If you expose from time to time, is there to make you curious and go foraging for food. But if you're exposed every day, 8 times a day, because we eat 3 meals and 5 snacks, okay, that's the exactly opposite. Your brain is exhausted, it gets insulin resistant, oxidation, and it actually makes you not want and care for anything. You have no energy. It changes their behavior, and you'll see them, all they do, they're just stuck to their little devices. They have no interest going outside or playing, and it changes their behavior for a long time. So they have difficulty adopting healthy eating behaviors, and it's going to get actually very difficult. Feeding our kids healthy food is becoming extremely difficult. You can't undo that once you do that every day. So that's what I'm going to tell to when people are telling me, and research, food industry research is telling me about food shaming. Well, tell that to those kids and those parents who have to deal with those kids later on. And I like this quote from Audre Lorde, who was a fantastic poet in the 70s, who noticed that she had breast cancer, and she refused to actually get a breast implant because he says, I need people to research why this happened to me, and I need them to know. And I said, I have come to believe that caring for myself is not self-indulgent. Caring for myself, it's an act of survival. And caring starts with food that you eat. So here is my quote for when we talk about food shaming. What food we eat is not a matter of taste or guilt or shame. It is a matter of long-term survival and quality of life. One must make an informed choice of what matters to them. You want to eat your French fries and your burger every day? It's fine with me. But I would like to make sure first you know what we're talking about. And then you can do whatever you like. That's okay. All right? And we need to start avoiding toxic food.